Good morning, and welcome to today's eurythmy online session. I'm very happy to have you here with us again today. Today we will focus very much on doing the eurythmy Hallelujah, the sacred word of praise and thanksgiving. We're going to begin with a poem that was written by a Sufi poet of the 11th century, in which he describes the path of practicing mindful movement as a Sufi. And I find that these words fit perfectly to how I live in full mindful awareness in myself when I do my eurythmy practice, fully present with my soul throughout my body, throughout my feet. As the poet calls it, this is a sign of presence without absence. So we'll begin our exercise with the recitation of this verse. Thank you.
The eurythmist is one whose thought keeps pace with the foot. Her, his, self, he, she is entirely present. The soul is where the body is. The body is where the soul is. And the soul is where the foot is. And the foot is where the soul is. This is the sign of presence without absence. So as we begin our eurythmy experience, and when you take your place and stand, feel yourself striving to be fully present in your body. Today we're going to begin with the sacred prayer, Hallelujah. And we're going to end the lesson with doing 3 Hallelujahs. And I'll talk you through that when we get to it. So please stand up, take your place, stretch, open your space. And now create the intention to be entirely present. And as you feel that presence, know that you're surrounded by spirit, and you are spirit living inside your emotional body, your astral body, spirit living inside your etheric body, spirit living inside and permeating your physical body. You are spirit. And now to begin with the Hallelujah, we'll fold our arms. In folding our arms, feel to yourself, I will purify myself of everything that hinders me from looking upon God. And now, with this intention, let's open our arms wide with the H. Ha. I open myself to the Spirit. Ah, I let the light of the Spirit flow through me. Now with 7 L's, feeling as if you're washing your feet with clear water, I cleanse my feet. I cleanse my knees. I cleanse my lower body. I cleanse my heart. I cleanse my speaking. I cleanse my thinking. I cleanse my whole self. I stand at the threshold to the spiritual world. The doors open for me, and I cleanse spirit seeing, imagination. I cleanse spirit hearing, inspiration. And I cleanse spirit being, intuition. And With the ooh, I gather my forces and lead them to the spirit. E. From the spirit, I receive my ego. Ah. And I offer all that I am back to my creator. And the breath of the spirit returns me to myself. Here in this present moment, in my space, with the growing awareness that there is so much more to existence than what my physical senses alone can give me. And now I want to strengthen my organism, so I'm living in my body with these forces of health and knowledge, light and warmth. And so we'll go directly into the threefold walking exercise today. And you'll remember how to begin this by feeling your uprightness. Feel the space you live in, front space and back space. Feel the nobility of the head, which we hold quietly as we walk. Crown of stars on your head. Feel that the purpose of threefold walking is for your feet to carry your heart. So center yourself in your heart. And now allow awareness to stream into your feet. You are entirely present. Your soul is where your foot is. And with this awareness, let's begin to walk. The right foot could be the left foot that's not wrong. Lift, carry, and place. Lift, carry, and place. Lift, carry, place. Lift, carry, place. And backwards or forwards if you've got more room. Carry, place, lift, carry, place. Lift, carry, place, lift, carry, and place. And there are many things we can do with our arms to intensify the experience. And last week, we developed this movement. And let me remind you about what we're doing. We'll pick it up and spend several minutes with this. With the lifting energy, you lift your arms parallel and feel as if light is arising from the depths, sunrise. And then with this, the second phase, the light spreads across the meadows. And with the third phase, darkness settles softly onto the earth. And then light arises, the first phase, light spreads, light falls. And now allow that to stimulate a very peaceful breathing, especially as you lift, you feel this inhale, and you can feel how that opens your chest wide, and then a beautiful sinking with the place. Again, lift, carry, and place. Continue to do that as I share another couple words with you here. That in eurythmy, we don't artificially compel the breath to do anything. So if you need an extra inhalation or exhalation, take it. But what we do in eurythmy is let the body movements tell us or create healthy breathing in us. So by the way that this we feel naturally impelled to inhale. The chest opens, my lungs are filled, and I exhale. Now, let's put that together with the walking. I'm going to go very slowly this first time to really be sure that you understand the process. Here is the lift. But at this moment, my foot is still completely touching the floor. This is my lift. So with my arms, I only have that movement. I haven't moved my foot yet. So I'm linking my hand and my foot. So this is lift. And then with the carry, I come this far and I haven't found the ground yet. I'm balancing. But take care that you don't overstretch your foot and stand crooked like this. With the carry, your foot is just this far. And let me show you precisely. The foot should be below the knee and not stretched out in front. So let's try that again, the lift and the carry. Lift, the foot is just off rolling, but my toe is still touching here. Carry, and I make sure that I go at the same speed with arms and legs. Now I touch the floor, and then I exhale as I place. But I don't grow any shorter. I stay the same height throughout. Lift, carry, and place. Lift, carry, and place. Isn't that beautiful as a full body experience? Lift, carry, and place. The movement is identical as you go backwards. Lift, carry, and place. Lift, carry, and place. Lift, carry, and place. Lift, carry, and place. Thank you. In our warm-up exercises, we've worked so much in previous lessons. I hope you're still working on it, on how to make your angel wings. Remember to incorporate that experience as you're moving your arms in these big movements. Don't overstress the shoulders. Let your shoulder blades make this possible for you. Now, one more wonderful experience with this. Lift, carry. As you place, we want to be sure you get a wonderful deep exhale and see if you can almost feel as if you're breathing out downwards through your whole body. And I actually like to feel that I'm breathing out through the arch of my foot. Place, not just through my nose, but my whole body breathes into the earth. Try that again with me. Lift, carry, place. And a new beautiful day with a sunrise. And release. Lift, carry, place. Lift, carry, and place. Breathing out. Backwards, remember what's key. Feel your back. Feel the back door of your heart. Carry, place, lift, carry, and place. Lift, carry, place. One more step. Lift, carry, and place. And we'll rest for a moment. It's always fine just to do regular threefold walking and practice varying your tempos. But if, as I have sometimes suggested, you might do eurythmy threefold walking for an hour. You remember I said that that really helps to regulate your breathing and create deep mindfulness. If you do it for an hour, you might want to have a variety of things to do with your arms. So that's why I offer these suggestions. Now we'll take a step further and we're going to enter the world of the vowels again. So let's remember the vowels are the expression of the archetypal feelings that were laid into us as we were born. Like fairy godmothers, they are the ones who have built our soul processes. And so with that awareness, remember, Perhaps you can say it with me. This ah. Now change A with Mars forces. E, Mercury. Now the Lord Jupiter. Oh. And earnest, solemn Saturn. Oh. Rest. Yes, friends, there's so much more to say about that. We'll do more of that in future modules. But now please silence your voice and do these sounds in standing with your arms. I'll intone them for you, but your inner work is to feel and to move your arms into etheric space. Getting ready for the ah, create wonder in your heart. See where your arms will go and flow into it. Ah. Release and change your intention. I will cross and make boundaries. A. It's finished. Release and feel your heart creating the balance. Stream into E. It's finished. And get your arms ready for the O. In my mind, I'm drawing the O and I slide my arms into what my thoughts have already intended. O. And ooh, I feel the narrowness. I create it with my arms and I move into it. Ooh. And release. I'm going to say all of these stimuli words that I said a moment ago. This is how to create an authentic eurythmy practice. You create the feeling, create the movement before you move, and then slide your arms into that picture you've made. Once again, the feeling is your astral body. The mental picture of where you're moving is something that you're drawing in the light forces of your thinking in space, and then in your etheric body. Your etheric body is already doing the ah, and then your physical body fulfills your intention. Take a moment to think about that. What does that have to do in life? Can we be proactive about our intentions, not merely reactive? So here is a small way to practice that. Create the ah, feel wonder, create this picture of streaming and fulfill it. Ah, every cell in your body is open. It's finished. And create a different intention. And cross with your mind and then your body. A. It's finished. To do the E. You feel your heart. Create this picture of balance. E. Release. Create this experience of love. The O, see it. And let your arms slide into that shape that you've made etherically in your mind. O. Now create the awareness of narrow, contained energy. Move into it and raise your arms to the heavens while keeping your feet rooted on the earth. Ooh. Yes. In your personal practice, you can do 5, 7, 10, 100 ahs, just to keep deepening that experience. The same with all the other vowels. But in this practice, we're doing them sequentially. Here we go. Ah. Open myself. Ah. I create boundaries. A. I stand in balance. E. Either arm up, it doesn't matter. I create communities of love. Oh. I gather all of my rooted forces and connect my roots with my goal. Ooh. Rest. We're ready to take the next step then in the practice, and we will join this with threefold walking. And this time, we're going to take one step for each vowel, moving the vowel with the arms as we step. In future repetitions, we'll add more steps to it. So I'll take 5 steps forward and do the 5 vowels. And lift, carry, place. Ah. Change my energy. A. Change. E. Change. O. Change. O. And rest. Open the back door to your heart. Big wing space. We'll do that going backwards. We could start with oo going back. I'm going to start with ah, but sometimes we choose to do that in the opposite direction. Oo, o, e, a, ah. We won't do that right now. Here we go. Ah, a, e, o, o, and rest. Good. Again. Ah, a, e, o, o, and backwards. Ah, a, e, o, o, and rest. And again, one threefold step for each sound. One more time. Lift, carry, ah. Lift, carry, a. Lift, carry, e. Lift, carry, o. Lift, carry, o. And release. Backwards. Lift, carry, ah. Lift, carry, a. Lift, carry, e. Lift, carry, o. Lift, carry, o. And rest. What are we doing? Strengthening the soul by bathing ourselves in our vowel forces, these forces that come from the planet and live like the gifts of the fairy godmothers through our entire constitution, touching the archetypes. You are Venus, you are Jupiter, you are Saturn, and so on. We'll take the next step and take 2 steps for each sound. It's a different kind of discipline, connecting your feet with a different timing, or your arms with different timing. And 2 steps. Ah. A. E. I'll go backwards. O. O. If you have space to do a whole series going forwards, by all means do. If you only have a little bit of space, you can take 2 steps forward and 2 back, as whatever works for you. And again, 2. Ah. A. E. O. O. Let's do 3 steps. Ah. A. of the vowels has a different quality. Imbue that with each sound you do. Loving, beautiful Venus, 3 steps. And Marshall, boundary strong, A. Lightness, E. Royal wisdom, O. Solemnity, O. And again, can you see how you can grow and vary your own practice? And again, and as a eurythmist, I also put colors into my gestures. That will be part of a future workshop we do, but I can color them with specific colors for each sound and or with colors that belong to the vowels. I'll say that to you. As I do the different sounds, I can imagine that I'm moving through a room filled with colored lights that belong to the different planets. Venus is green. I move forward in peaceful green, 3 steps. Mars is red. I move through a field of red. A. Mercury is yellow and light-filled. E. Jupiter, royal orange, expansive. And Saturn, deep, contemplative. Ooh. And rest. And now the next step in this morning's practice. Let's remember the 5-pointed star. Start at your head. Send a line of light, again, working with your etheric mental images, a line of light down to your right foot and step into the thought picture that you've made. Send another line of light out to your right arm, left arm, I meant to say, across from your left arm to your right arm. From there, sink a line of light to your left foot and let a line of light rise to your head. You are whole. Feel these lines intersecting. And release. And release. With this awareness of how that feels, it's nice to think of the stars in the sky, little people, if you will, standing there and sending their light to us, or we are made in their image. Again, from our head, sink a line of light into the will pole. Let a line float up to the feeling realm, across widths, again into the deep will. Back to the head, your balance in thinking, feeling, and willing. Release and release. Now, let's create the 5 ways of the 5-pointed star. In this room that I have, trying to stay on the screen for you, I can take 3 steps for each star. It's okay if you can only take 1. It's even better if you can take 5 steps for each way. I'll take 3. I start at the head of my star. I'm going to my right. On your screen, it will look like I'm going to my left. So you'll have to do this mirror image. So it occurs to me I should let you draw it one more time. Take your right hand, draw from your heart, diagonal line to the right, where your right foot would be. Draw a diagonal line from there to your left arm. That position is further forward than my head position is. From the left arm to the right arm, that was a straight line. From the right arm, diagonally forward to that left foot, and back to the head. As eurythmists, we are always drawing these forms with our mind into the space, and then we move into the form that we're seeing with our inner eye. From my head to my right foot, 2, 3, left. To my left arm, I'm not as far back as my head, right? To my right arm, straight across, further out than my foot was. To my left foot, 1, 2, 3. And here comes the self-test that you can see. Can you get back to the head? Are you back where you started? Okay, once again, imagine the symmetry of this wonderful star. To the right foot, to the left arm, to the right arm, to the left foot, and back to the head. Good. And now let's draw a circle around your star. Touch the arm, the foot, the arm, back to the head. And rest. Now, let's do that same star with the 5 vowel sounds. To the right foot, ah. Back to the left arm, A. Through the room of red, through the room of yellow, E. Through the royal chambers of O, and back to the head. Ooh. And we make a circle around the star. Good. Again, towards the head. Ah. A. E. O. Ooh. And rest. And around, or one more time. We'll go, ah, A, E, O, ooh, and rest. And once again, let's try that circle. And in future lessons, we'll do more with learning circles. It's a whole art and in and of itself. Please, let's take a moment to reflect on how much we've been asking of ourselves today, that you're not going to just go, ah, A, E, but no, what you do is you let the sound grow as you move. Perhaps an image for that would be as if you are walking through life and you're going to take a walk in pure wonder. I step, and I let my wonder grow and grow and grow. And the A, I'm 1/3 of the way there, 2/3 of the way, I'm all the way there. I'm taking 3 steps. A little bit of E, more E, and it's culminated here, and so on. Oh, my arms and my feet match. In doing so, I am really connecting my soul and my body, and connecting them all by growing the force of my own mindfulness, my heart mind, my inner awareness of self. Good. These sounds were in different zones. Now we're going to do the sounds in different zones. So we'll do 5 vowels, but we'll keep the sounds here in the middle zone instead of letting them rise, all of them. So we will build the ah into this zone, and the A right here, and the E here. Now I don't have one arm up. I have my 2 arms both in the middle realm, not quite flat, but here diagonal. O in the middle, and even ooh in the middle. Yes. And now I'll do all 5 of them down towards the earth. Oh, I love the ground. Without looking down, but I feel down. Hey, I am strong on the earth. E, watch this now. I have my leading arm down. The other arm continues to touch heaven, but my experience is down over here. Oh, see how rooted you need to feel. And oh, thank you. Let's try that again. We're going to begin now, which we hadn't done yet. 5 vowels in the upper zone, rest. 5 vowels in the middle zone, rest. 5 vowels in the earth zone. Let's begin. I see wonder above me. Ah. I acknowledge the spirit with A. I touch the spirit with E, but I also ground myself with this lower arm. Oh, catch a star in your arms. And ooh, the whole time you're looking forward, not up. Rest. Now in the middle zone. Ah, beautiful world in front of me. A, I focus to see it more clearly. E. Oh. And oh, feeling my backspace even as I stream forwards. And now towards the earth. Ah. A. E. Oh. Oh. And rest. I hope you can appreciate how nice it will be that you'll have the videos so that you can review these experiences later on. Now I'd like to turn for a moment to the Sufi verse that we had that I spoke at the beginning of the lesson. And my intention here is that I know eurythmy takes another jump forwards, really enters its element when we can start doing poetry and our music with our gestures, with our arms. But this is something that's very hard to teach in an online class. But there are a few poems that we can really work with. And in time, I'll be able to teach you how to do some poems with your arms as you move. But the Sufi poem is one that we can kind of touch this realm of poetry like this. We can put it on a 5-pointed star. I'm going to start standing in the middle of a star, and then from the middle, I'm going to walk back to the head of the star. What is the symbolism of this? I start in my center, and then I walk back to these head forces. Excuse me, I need to cough. Thank you. Once again, start in the center. I'll walk back to my head. Now I'm going to walk the 5 ways of the star. Walk to the right foot, left arm, right arm, left foot, and back to my head. Perhaps I need to remind you, I'm pointing. In pointing, I'm showing you where my thoughts are, but I don't want you to point. So I'll try to be a little more disciplined this time. I start in the center. I walk back to the head, right foot, left arm, right arm, left foot, back to the head. And then to complete, I walk back to the center of my star. And that's for the end of the poem. 2, 3. Palms finished. I'm going to lay this onto the words of the poem. Once again, in your personal practice, you're going to think the words of the poem, but you won't speak them. So we'll begin by walking the 3 steps back for the first 3 lines of the poem like this. The eurythmist is one whose thought keeps pace with the foot. Now we have 5 lines ahead of us, like this. Now comes the 4th line on the poem. He is entirely present. His soul is where his body is. His body is where his soul is. His soul is where his foot is. His foot is where his soul is. This is the sign of presence without absence. Thank you. Now I would like to end with doing 3 hallelujahs. And with these 3 hallelujahs, we're going to expand our hallelujah practice. This is something that I've developed over the course of the years, and I find it very beautiful. The first time I do the hallelujah, I do it with the feeling that I'm transforming my own body, my sheaths, all of my levels. With the second hallelujah, I feel that I expand the space that I am transforming, that I'm working in. And here there are 2 different possibilities. I can feel, and this is what we will do, that I am transforming the room that I'm standing in. But the second level could be, if I'm teaching a class, as I say, all of us now, let's move together in perfect synchronicity. And then the 3rd time we do it, I take the next step and I say, now what I do will be a gift to the spirits, a gift to the spiritual world, possibly a gift and a reaching out to those who have died. It's a giveaway. That doesn't mean that I necessarily do it larger, but having passed all the way through to my 3rd hallelujah, my consciousness is big enough that I can touch into larger spaces, larger, deeper realms. You with me? Let's remember how many people are working with us around the world in simultaneous time. And so we're going to be connecting with them as we move. 3 times through the hallelujah. I gather my forces. I purify myself of everything that hinders me from looking upon God. Open myself to the Spirit. Let Spirit light flow all the way to the earth. I cleanse my feet. I cleanse my knees. I cleanse my lower body. I cleanse my heart. I cleanse my speaking. I cleanse my thinking. I cleanse my whole self. I stand at the threshold to the spiritual world. I cleanse imagination. I cleanse inspiration. I cleanse intuition. I gather my forces And then I raise them to the Spirit. The Spirit sends to me my ego. And even that I offer back to my Creator. And the breath of the Spirit returns me to myself. I reflect on this. And now I send my attention to the space that I'm standing in. Or if there's another one in the room with you, you can really work in perfect harmony with that other person. And with this feeling, open myself to the Spirit, and I'm touching the ceiling and more. And I let this light flood through my space. And the whole earth realm, my floor and beyond, I cleanse. And I raise it higher, I cleanse the water around my lower legs. The cleansing energy rises. Then I cleanse my heart. And I cleanse the speech realm here in the zone. Cleanse this whole height, the whole room. And now, going through these higher realms, I touch into the light-filled love spaces that permeate my room. I hear, I acknowledge the higher realms that are with me. I gather my forces and I lead them to the Spirit. We stand between heaven and earth. We offer this whole room back to God. Now for a third time. For one thing, I'm going to put in my mind the 100 or so people that are here with me in simultaneous time, you, all these other people around the world, and I'm going to be aware that I'm moving with them. But at this point, you can also take a beloved person with you as you move in your thoughts, someone who has died, and we let our healing energy be of service to the world. Excuse me, please, I need to cough. Yeah. And Thank you for sharing in sacred eurythmy blessing together around the world, holding this space together. And for me, this is one of the wonderful mysteries of what eurythmy online can be, to know that we're moving in time together and we are indeed spanning the world with our good intentions. And I do that by myself as my personal practice. I do the eurythmy 3 times, the Hallelujah, for myself, for my home and house, and for the spiritual world. And sometimes I make a point of thinking of all those who are suffering, those who have died, those who have newly died, maybe disoriented, having crossed the threshold. All of these things are part of our eurythmy practice. So now I'm going to sit down and take a couple of minutes to answer your questions, to host conversation. And then please, I hope that you'll stay with us long enough to be able to talk about the upcoming webinars and short series as well.
Today, maybe next time.
Okay. All right. So at this point, we would very much like to host your questions and see what you have to say. And
Okay.
Michelle is going to help to mediate that for us.
So Christine asked back with the very first Hallelujah that we did, what's the difference between the gesture and the upward ah gesture? The arms look the same.
The ha is this motion of, that's a consonant. And that consonant is the activity of opening. And the ah is the open angle itself. That's the difference between the vowels and consonants. So the ha moves, and then we deliver the H into the ah. We could also do other sounds. We could do ah or ah. But this is a ha ah.
Wonderful, thank you.
Yeah.
And then Christine also asked, with the threefold walking, am I supposed to inhale through the lift and carry? I end up holding my breath during carry.
I generally am doing the carry with my lungs full. So I'm not holding my breath, but I feel that I just keep growing into the width. And let me reiterate, if you feel like you're holding your breath, for heaven's sakes, already do your exhale. I don't want you to feel asphyxiated. I don't want you to feel like you can't breathe.
Okay, Sangeetha said in the vowels, the ah, a, e, o, and oo,
yeah,
the e sound, the letters and the sounds.
Yeah.
So is the e, I'm going to say the letter e sound is the I. So there's this English.
Okay, I can do it.
Thank you.
Dear friends, in eurythmy, we're moving the sounds, not the letters. So if I'm describing things, so first, you must pay attention to the sound E, regardless of what you might see on a piece of paper. If you are writing your own notes, or when I write notes to you, if I'm talking about the E sound to an English-speaking audience, I'll write the letter E and I'll put that long mark on top of it, which denotes that that's the pronunciation. It's a long E. But if I'm writing it in to a German audience, I will use a different letter, E, what looks like I in English. But those are just notations. The important thing is the experience and the sound. So E is this, whether it's written in the Romantic languages with the straight E, or as we write in English with the 3 bars. Please, I hope you all got that one. It's so important.
Okay, question again comes up. Can you explain why we don't do these practices outside?
Yes. I speak out of experience that when we do eurythmy outside, we lose the perception of the space that we're moving, that we're shaping, that we're sculpting, because we just get lost in the birds and the trees and the colors and all the sounds and all that. And in eurythmy, we're actually trying to sculpt the etheric space. What does that mean, to sculpt space? Like I'm doing this, I'm doing the L, and I'm moving space. And outside, very few people have enough grounding energy themselves to be able to hold that space without dispersing into the periphery. Very few people can do that. Yeah. So if I do it inside, I have a much more intense practice. I did suggest you'll remember that it's okay to do the threefold walking outside if you want to, because it's such a grounded exercise, energy. And there could be times when I might choose to do it outside for a particular sacred meeting, but then I'm very careful to hold my energies within bounds. And if I do it outside, I think I would prefer to do it in a place like a redwood forest grove, where I feel contained. Thank you.
And again, would you please explain why we don't say the vowels aloud?
Yes. It is a much stronger, much more powerful body discipline, body incarnated experience, if we're just moving the arms. If I'm speaking it, I am putting out my chi, putting out my etheric through my voice. I'm imprinting my etheric formative forces onto the exhaled breath. And then if I'm also trying to move in eurythmy, I'm doing two things at once. That doesn't help. There's a lot more I need to say about this, about the relationship between voice and body, but we haven't done enough preparatory work to explain that. But it's more difficult to do it without speaking the sounds, but it's more accurate. We don't want to split into two different directions. I want you to fully feel your gestures. Yeah.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, question. The transition of the last three moves of the Hallelujah is not so clear yet.
From that into the ooh, is that what it means? The transition.
Regine, are you with us? Hold on, let me see. Here we go. I am going to unmute. There we go. We can do this.
The transition of the last three moves. So I'm not quite sure, Regina, if you mean the transition into them or the transition from those last three into the ooh.
Can I unmuted myself?
Yes,
Yeah.
we hear you.
It is that transition of the one into the other.
You mean from one L into the next L, or from?
No, from one sound into another sound, because at the very end, right? The very end.
Oh, I see. From the ooh to the E to the ah.
Yes. That was it.
Okay. So from after the last L, and I gather my forces. Here I go into the ooh. I create the ooh. And then comes the E. Out of all of our practice, I feel that E in my heart. And I go to here. So from the ooh, now both of my arms, right and left, are intending something different, E. So once again, here's the ooh. Now both of my arms think something different. They both think E. And now comes the ah, and they both think ah. And then I bring them together. I hope that helps.
Yes, that was very helpful. You know that intention, as you say,
Yeah.
one is one and then you go into the other one. So it's a little drawing back and then you intend the next one. So that was very helpful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Tish asked, well, first she said 3 and 7 are sacred numbers, including 7 chakras. Is that why Hallelujah has 3 plus 7 L forms?
I think so, although dear Dr. Steiner, who created this sequence, didn't ever say that, but yes, they are sacred numbers. And we're learning to experience why as we do this exercise. We're experiencing what it feels like to do 7s and 3s. Thank you, yeah.
The next question comes from Sarada, and she said that she didn't understand the J in Hallelujah. Yes, okay, all the spellings of Hallelujah.
Sarada, you wrote the Hallelujah in the text with the letter J. Hallelujah, and then J-A-H. Oh, this is a question of languages. So in some, first of all, it's always a question of the sound, not of the writing. And so sometimes in writing the word hallelujah, it's written with a J, because the J sound in some languages is an equivalent to the sound E. E and J are kind of close. So in transcribing the sound, sometimes we say hallelujah. J, you never say ja, hallelujah, you say hallelujah. And in some languages that E is written J, but it's always pronounced E. So we have, once again, as I just said, hallelujah. Don't think of J, think of the E experience, the sound of the E there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Now we have the question, do you always feel the colors when moving? And I'm going to add the vowels.
And the consonants, yes.
Well, okay.
Well, yes. Yes, that's a whole nother level of movement. Whenever I move anything, I am excuse me, I'm moving through a world of color. And a few of you already have purchased my book that you can get on Amazon. And in that book, you see the color indications for the different sounds. Oh.
Beautiful. Sarada asked, can we close our eyes when we do this?
You know, if you close your eyes, it's better if you don't. In fact, I always tell my students in the public classes, I understand the longing to shut your eyes. It puts you a little bit into dream world, but that dream world is not in here in this physical world in the same way. It's kind of lifting out. And the wonderful thing about eurythmy is that it's about transforming this body and not lifting into somewhere else. So please, maybe once you can close your eyes. It's kind of sweet, but it's not really eurythmy then, it's your own sacred experience. But we want to, like I said, when I was answering the question about why do we do it inside, because we want to be present and move the space that we're in.
Next one, or this last one, is a perfect transition into the next part of the discussion. And this person asked, I am waiting for copper rod exercises. When?
Yes, I can't wait to do the copper rod exercises. And what's really hindered me from starting them yet is that I couldn't be sure that all the people who are watching have got their own copper rods. And that would just make it not possible for half of you or some of you to do these lessons. And that's why last week I asked or 2 weeks ago, I asked how many of you have rods. A number of you did. And I'm going to urge you to get them, because in the next webinar, I'm going to include rods as half of the material. So in the next webinar, the series, which will start in 2 weeks, we're going to do two things. We're going to do rod exercises, which are a beautiful part of deepening our eurythmy practice. And we're going to do what are called the soul exercises, and there are 12 soul exercises. And these were taught to the therapeutic eurythmists. I'm also a therapeutic eurythmist, so I've done this deep training. And they teach, when Rudolf Steiner gave these particular 12 exercises, he said, they make our etheric body into, now I use a funny word, into a regular patron of good health. That word patron is funny, isn't it? That sounds to me like, I don't know, a landowner down in South America, the patron. But maybe we can translate it into more casual English and say it makes the etheric body able to really support our good health by working by way of the astral body to create particular soul movements into the etheric. So these are really powerful exercises. They include the Ah, Reverence, Hope, Ooh, and Love A that I've done with you before in the previous webinar, and 9 more. So we'll be doing them next time in the next series. 6 more sessions. The 6th of those sessions will be on Michaelmas Day, and we're going to have a special kind of Michaelmas festival on that day. Where can we buy a copper rod? My goodness. Okay. Somebody put the link up last time for where to buy those rods. If any one of you who is watching happens to, haha, thank you, whoever got it. If any one of you has that resource for where to buy a really good eurythmy rod, here's mine. It's been hand hammered. If you can get that, then go ahead. Otherwise, as Christine here writes, you can get them at Home Depot or any hardware store. You go to the plumbing department and get this rod. I recommend 3/8 inch diameter. And if you're just getting a personal rod, the length is from your center of your collarbone out to the tips of your fingers. And in most cases, that will be 33 inches. Really tall people might want 36. If it's a little bit more or less, that doesn't matter. The rod is hollow, and it should be 8.5 ounces. We don't want anything too heavy nor too light. And then you want to get caps. Yeah. If you're at the plumbing store, you can get these rubber tips to put on the bottom. That's really helpful because sometimes you might drop the rod and you don't want to scratch your floor when you do. Let's see. Thank you, Rose, for writing that down. Thank you. Yeah, you can just go to your local plumbing store. So I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about what's ahead. There are so many topics that we can work on. Eurythmy with the planets and the constellations, eurythmy with colors, how to feel and create colors in your practice. Eurythmy as, when we study eurythmy in the planets, we can study eurythmy, how the planets have created the organs of our body, also how the planets live as archetypes of the different phases of life when we study biography, how the planets are connected to Greek mythology, and all of these are then experiences that deepen what we do in eurythmy when we learn to move with and experience the world of the different planets. The study of the planets in eurythmy also takes us into the study of life before death and life before birth and life after death. When we go back to a primal relationship to the planetary spheres and after that to the constellations. So I want to do a whole series on the planets. I want to do a series on the constellations, the formative forces, Again, at least 12 sessions on that, really deep work. I want to do seasonal eurythmy, giving particular practices for the different seasons. So there have been so many of you who've been joining this journey, and I hope you'll continue to travel with us on that. And I hope you'll share the news with your friends. Also, I know that for some people, this hour once a week is tremendous nourishment. And for some people, you might want to have a shorter practice. And so I'm going to create a series of 4 20-minute sessions with different themes in them. These sessions won't have the deep teaching in them. There'll be more like quick things like, let's wake up with doing the peace exercise and 3 times through particular rod exercises, and boom, now you're ready to start your day. And another series of 4 might be, these are exercises that will help you to really deeply relax. Or if you do these, you're really guaranteed to work on your spatial coordination, things like that. So we're going to create these little series. I want to tell you my whole, someone just wrote some ideas. Okay, a couple rods, thanks, excuse me, got distracted. If you don't know, I have the Eurythmy online website, and on that website I have some 55 to 60 lessons for many different things in eurythmy. So let me explain them to you briefly. I have one set of lessons that are called the basic warm-up exercises, and there are 8 different warm-up exercises: weight bears downwards, threefold walking, and so on. And then I have about 10 rod exercises, explains each one of the rod exercises in depth. And I have spatial orientation, pentagrams and spirals and so on. And then I have a series of 7 exercises for the vowels and 12, 15 or more exercises for the consonants. And then also a whole series for the health-giving exercises. And if you wanted to have these exercises, you would get them in my website, and you can, if you purchase them, they're all on a sliding scale now, you can look at that for life. You'll always have access to those particular lessons that you get. But we're also working with the idea of creating a membership model, and with that you would be able to get, kind of go, if you were a so-called member, I'm still trying to get my head around this, then without purchasing a lesson for life, you'd be able to watch any one of all these lessons for as long as you're a member. And so you could go in and choose, I want to work on the ah. You could take it out of the library every day, and maybe that might be a better price point for people to be able to do it. So we're trying to figure out new ways of doing the money. As you know, I've been doing all of this on donation. Once again, deep, deep thanks to those of you who have been able to donate. I continue to be deeply grateful. This takes a lot of work and has a lot of technical costs that I have to finance. So I do have real costs with this. Thank you for your support. And my vision in creating Eurythmy Online is that I want everyone in the world to be able to do Eurythmy. And I'd rather not have to pay or to charge money. On the other hand, it makes it more real if I do. So we have to figure out the right way to charge membership or sliding scale. We'll see what we'll do with that. So this is what we're doing going forward. And I very, very much look forward to continuing this work. Once again, I'm so grateful if you send me an email and tell me what this has brought to you and questions that you have. And I also do therapy sessions with people online, if that's what you want to do. And let's anticipate sometime in the future when I can travel again and hopefully come to your community and or you can come to mine and we can do something together and some tone eurythmy. If there are any more questions, please put them in the chat.
We do have a few more. Perfect segue. This one says, do you have any DVDs on eurythmy for sale? That segues into your website, Eurythmy Online, which you already spoke about.
Exactly. So yes, I don't have DVDs. I started doing DVDs. That was my first vision. And then I realized so many people told me no one does DVDs anymore. They're so hard to get to watch. So it has turned out to be more sensible to put them online on an online library.
Thank you. And someone asked, are rubber tips preferred to copper tips on the copper rods?
Yes, because the rubber tips will not crash on the floor when you drop it, if you drop the rod.
And then someone asked, what about copper balls? Are we going to do exercises with copper balls?
I would love to do a few exercises with the copper balls. I'll show you one here. You see how big it is? But the copper balls are a whole nother expense for people. And we don't do that much with them, but they're very, very therapeutic. So if anyone's able to get a copper ball, you can only get them from Waldorf supply stores. If you can get one, please do. And when I teach a public class and I have 40, 50 people, of course, I don't have that many balls. So I do choose then to use oranges or lemons, something that fits in the palm of the hands. And we do the exercises with them. That's very nice. But I will put more emphasis on the rods themselves.
Wonderful. Jennifer asked, do I need 1 or 2 copper rods?
If you're just going to do it alone, you just need 1. If you have someone to so-called play with in your copper rods, then you should get another one and you can do some rod tossing, which I'll show you how, but for yourself, just 1.
Okay. And then someone asked, this person said they measure 29 inches. Will 33 inches be best or 29?
Oh, 29 would be better, but 33 is fine. But in your case, I definitely wouldn't go to the 36 inches. That would be too much for you.
And Katya said she has solid copper balls. They're heavy, but could that work?
You know, depends on how heavy. Maybe I should weigh mine and find out. The advantage is that you have this wonderful element copper. Copper is connected to the Venus. Copper is warming. That's why we use it in the therapy. It transmits warmth. Like people who have cold hands, they benefit so much from the copper balls. So yes, it would work, especially if you're using it because you have cold hands. But I'm also hesitant because I have sometimes worked with copper balls that just feel so heavy that they don't feel like they have any life in them.
Okay, and this looks to be the last question. I think you can possibly also use rose quartz balls or hearts for copper ball exercises, and we'll put that into a question. Can you?
Okay. I don't like it as much as an orange. It's as much as it's a gorgeous ball, and sometimes I do use it, but an orange is still alive, and the copper feels a lot more, no, the energy of the copper ball is more vibrant, whereas this is so solid. So I haven't learned, in my experience, it's not as friendly as an orange is. But if it works for you, that's okay. Yeah. Where do you get the copper balls? Dear Rose, do you know of a source to get these? Our friend Rose, who's on these calls, is a source of great wisdom. to see if Rose is going to check in here. There are Waldorf outlets that sell some of these things.
I was going to say that I was able to get a copper ball. It was solid though, at a New Age shop.
Uh-huh. And again, if it's solid, it's, do you have any other ideas about where to get the
It was small. It wasn't the size of an orange. It was more of the size of an apricot. So it wasn't as heavy, but it was still heavy than your hollow ball.
Yeah, there we go. Mercurius. Mercurius has them. So Mercurius is, thank you, Shannon, and thank you, Rose. Mercurius is a source for Waldorf supplies. So you can Google them online. So solid and ringing copper balls. Let me tell you what the ringing balls are. I believe that you're talking about the same ones. This ball is hollow, and the ringing balls, so these are made by taking 2 sheets of copper and hammering them into a mold and then welding them together. And the ringing ones have a like a spring or something inserted in them before they're welded together. And then when you do the movements, you feel a little bling as you move them. And the real reason for doing them is they feel a little bit more alive, and they're especially useful in the therapy practice for people who have arthritis, because it gives a kind of tactile stimulation right into the joints. Aside from that, I don't find that they're any better, that there's any advantage, except for my arthritis patients. And Google copper balls, even Amazon has them. Okay, so check those Amazon copper balls and be sure that they are hollow. And what is my diameter? I don't have a measuring tape here. I'm not a big person, but my hands aren't particularly small, and that's the size that it is in my hand. I don't think you'd want anything bigger than that.
Great. Thank you so much, Cynthia. And
the same size as my rose quartz ball. Okay. Amazon costs a small. Again, we have to see what the small is. And they're not cheap. The copper rods would be a lot less expensive. However, they're a beautiful thing to have. So, all right, dear people. One more thing, I mentioned it before, but it would be wonderful if you share the news about these courses with your best friends or some people and bring them along on the journey. People around the world can do that. It's just a celebration, isn't it? And use this for your deep work. Thank you. So next week, we will have a culmination of this work and then continue on 1 week later with your copper balls, not your balls, but your copper rods. It will be a very rich session, I promise you. So thank you. And thank you, Michelle, as always, for being my support woman. And I'll see you next week. 3 inches, I guess. In diameter, I guess. Yeah. Okay, good people. See you next week. And thank you. And email me with any ideas that you have or thoughts. Okay. Bye for now.
Thank you again for watching eurythmyonline.com. Remember to practice your exercises in silence without looking at the computer. Once again, these recordings are all done purely on a volunteer basis, and we're very, very grateful for your donations at eurythmyonline.com. Thank you so much. Please continue watching.